that the president acted within the law.
Senators back at the president as JSC moves to court.
Children they are marking for are innocent and require their work to be marked so that the laws can be released.
And assurances over exam marking, even as Kuppet sustains its boycott.
We have prepared what would pass for one of the mother of all media demos in the world.
Also, journalists to down their tools in protest over suppressive media laws.
And members of county assemblies seek equal pay with governors.
This is KTN Prime with Yvonne Okwara and Wilson Buru.
Very good evening to you, and do welcome to KTN Prime, the most comprehensive news bulletin in the country.
It is the second day of December 2013. We're glad you joined us this evening. Let's start off with what's happening in the judiciary. And the High Court is tomorrow morning set to make a ruling that could shape the next battlefront in the row over the appointment of a tribunal to investigate 6 members of the JSC.
Now, the suspended JSC commissioners moved to court seeking to block members of the tribunal from being sworn in. Jubilee senators insist President Uhuru Kenyatta acted within the law in the appointment of the tribunal, even as the office of the ombudsman seeks to have the 6 commissioners allowed to remain in office pending the outcome of the tribunal.
Just 3 days after President Uhuru Kenyatta appointed a tribunal to investigate the conduct of 6 judicial service commissioners, the commissioners are fighting back. Through their lawyer, Paul Mwite, the commissioners moved to court, seeking to block the swearing-in of the Aaron Ringera-led tribunal. In the application before Justice George Odunga, the commissioners are challenging their removal from office and want the court to grant orders to prevent the Gazette notice appointing the tribunal from taking effect. As Justice Odunga prepares to make a ruling on Tuesday morning, members of the Kenya Judicial Staff Association too were opposing the move to suspend and investigate the 6 JSC commissioners.
The 6 are members of the Finance Committee, which on behalf of the JSC has oversight authority over financial management, including expenditures and procurement.
But Jubilee senators are defending the president over the appointment of the tribunal, arguing that he acted within the law following a recommendation by the National Assembly's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee.
The wording of Article 250 4B is in mandatory terms. In other words, the president is obligated to establish a tribunal.
The senators also defended the choice of Aaron Ringera to head the tribunal, whose members are Jennifer Shamala, Ambrose Weda, and Mutua Kilaka.
The membership of that tribunal meets the legal criteria.
Iko na regional balance, kuna mtu wa kutoka Nyanza, kuna mtu wa kutoka Mount Kenya, kuna mtu wa kutoka Eastern.
Over the weekend, court leader Raila Odinga termed the move to appoint the tribunal as unconstitutional and an affront on the judiciary.
Honorable Raila Odinga, let the government deliver.
The Commission on Administrative Justice, in a letter to President Uhuru Kenyatta, faulted the JSC for ignoring summons by the Parliamentary Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs. The letter also takes issue with the National Assembly for ignoring court orders, blocking the tabling of a report and debate on the JSC. The Commission, however, wants the 6 commissioners, Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, Justice Mohamed Warsame, Professor Christine Mango, Florence Mwangangi, Emilio Minde, and Reverend Samuel Kobia, to be allowed to continue serving pending the outcome of the tribunal. Rita Tinina, KTN.
Let's go to a situation that is worrying many in the city. Police in Nairobi are investigating the killings of 3 people in a night raid in the city's Utawala area. An unknown number of attackers wielding machetes hacked to death 2 night guards and a worker at a new petrol station in what the police describe as a crime not witnessed in the city in a very long time. KTN's Dennis Onsarigo reports on a killing that has further raised fears of insecurity among city residents.
The bloodstains from fleeing victims of a morning attack is what leads one to a manhole where the first two victims of the Monday morning attack lay. The two men had run here for cover, but for the machete wielding gang, leaving them alive was not part of the plan. They hacked them to death inside the manhole. With machetes dripping blood from their first two victims, the gang then moved into the petrol station's offices where they met 5 other workers. Those able to make it to safety did. One was however not lucky. The gang had him hacked to death inside the office. His body lay next to a safe.
They managed to get access to one safe. They made away with some unknown amount of money, but luckily enough they did not get access to the main safe.
In what appeared to be a gang with all the time to kill and plunder, the machete wielding group then embarked on breaking into safes. The gang, it appeared, was well prepared.
We have very vital information that we will be able to get those who reign terror at this petrol station. So wherever they are, I just want to warn them that we know their names because we have gotten their names. Even we are aware where they are right now. So it's a matter of time, we'll be picking one by one.
What is worrying is the time the gang took to kill and steal. The petrol station along the busy Eastern Bypass is hardly 5 meters away from the General Service Training School, among the most secure areas in Utawala. Family members who got wind of the killing arrived here to be met with the bodies of their kin. Some were too shocked and in disbelief. Lives cut short in the most brutal way.
In case a crime is committed like this one, definitely we get those people who commit such heinous crime. But conversely, Nairobians are very safe. You remember now we are in December. This whereby we need each and every person to ensure that you take your own personal security, and police are coming to beef up that security.
But recent incidents of crime have gotten city residents worried. In the past month alone, more than 7 people have died in the hands of criminals, with most of them discovered shot dead. For now, the killers of 3 night girls and a worker at this busy bump station are still at large. The killings here come barely a week after that of a policeman shot and killed in the city's Isili area. Despite assurances from the police that city residents are safe, there is growing genuine concern among them that maybe police are not doing enough to arrest the growing concerns. Denson Sarigo, KTN, Utawala.
Now, the County Assembly's Governing Forum has made it clear that the battle between them and the Salaries and Remuneration Commission is far from over. The county assemblies are asking for increased salaries, and even the best efforts by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to meet their demands have been futile. These demands may shock you, and if met, will burn a hole through the county's accounts. KTN looks at the MCA's demands against their current remuneration.
For 3 months, the members of the county assemblies and the Salaries and Remuneration Commission have been at 6s and 7s, a situation that has been entirely a numbers game. The members of the county assemblies want a pay hike that the SRC says the country simply cannot afford.
That position has been reviewed to 262,500 on the minimum and 350,000 on the maximum.
The members of the county assemblies rejected this proposal. They want more. A lot more, according to this document. The MCAs have 3 proposals, taking home a monthly salary of 935,345 Kenya shillings. Members who would be the lowest earners in this group are proposing a take-home of just over 500,000 shillings compared to the gazetted 200,000 Kenya shillings. Currently, the taxpayer is forking out 6.6 million shillings a year to cover salaries of the county assembly members alone. Should their proposal in option 1 be granted, the country would need an additional 10,464,575,940 shillings to pay 2,120 people. Oh, did we mention this is just for 1 year? There is not much of a difference in the second option. The Speaker would take home just over 800,000 shillings compared to the current 427,000 shillings, and the lowest paid, the member, would take home 480,493 shillings a month. In both cases, the proposals would double the current take-home package for the members. For this option, Kenyans would be required to pay an additional 7.6 billion a year to cater for the demands of the county assembly members. All county assemblies across the country have agreed full operations will resume on December 10th after the legal window allowing them to adjourn has been exhausted, but they're not happy.
Just as the previous evaluation purportedly done by SRC was a sham, we would also want to treat this one as a sham.
Serem's commission says their basis was simple, an increasing wage bill. With the MCAs back at work, however, the Salaries Commission now finds itself in a catch-22 as the MCAs have vowed to explore all possible options to ensure their demands are met. Edith Kimani, KTN.
The Big Q in association with Kenya Power.
Now that story forms the basis of our BQ tonight, and we are asking, do members of county assemblies deserve a pay hike? Do members of county assemblies deserve a pay hike?
Send us your thoughts on SMS to the number 22155. Start with a yes or no, followed by a brief comment. You can also get in touch with us on Twitter. That's at KTN Kenya, at Wilson_Mburu, and at Yvonne Okwara. And we will sample your tweets and your thoughts throughout this live newscast. So please keep your thoughts coming. Let's move to another matter now. Tomorrow,
Get power information right at your fingertips. Dial *551# Kenya Power.
right now, tomorrow, the media fraternity will hold a demonstration in a radical move set to protest against the draconian Information and Communication Amendment Bill of 2013 and the ensuing memorandum by the President. Media practitioners say the legislation sets stringent government controls on the media, thus jeopardizing the country's democracy and media freedom.
The media fraternity in Kenya is set to take to the streets tomorrow to protest against the draconian Information and Communication Amendment Bill of 2013.
We have prepared what would pass for one of the mother of all media demos in the world. And watch this space. We will still insist that we must have laws which will protect freedom and independence of the media.
The bill, which was passed by the National Assembly on October 31st, with a memorandum sent back to Parliament by President Uhuru Kenyatta, has been a cause of discord between media practitioners and the lawmakers. Members of the Editors Guild and Kenya Correspondents Association have been holding discussions with the Parliamentary Committee on Energy and Information on this conflicting issue, arriving on some agreeable terms.
One of the agreements we've had with the committee is that the fines will be reduced from 500,000 shillings to 100,000 shillings. The second issue is that all matters professional and ethical dealing with the journalists shall only be dealt with under the Complaints Commission and under Media Council and not under the Kika Bill.
But these agreeable terms can only come to fruition pending Parliament's action on the President's memorandum set for Tuesday or Wednesday before the House goes on recess.
Our appeal now is to all members of Parliament to turn up from all parts of the country and change the media bills in the right direction that will keep our media environment robust, free, fair, and independent from state control.
But if we lose the opportunity to make input and the MPs to be able to marshal themselves up to around 233, then we'll have lost. The next possible amendment may be after 6 months. And after 6 months, we do not know what can happen. Positions may have hardened, and we do not know. And after 6 months, we don't know what other issues may occupy this country. The media issues may not be the priority.
It is said that the pen is mightier than the sword. The media fraternity will tomorrow, in fighting for their hard-earned freedom, put down their pens in a bid to ensure this freedom is not gagged. Sharon Momanyi, KTN.
Let's go to the ICC, and the prosecutor Fatou Bensouda warns the Kenyan government declared uncooperative after allegedly failing to furnish her office with requested records. In a statement, Bensouda now wants the matter referred to the Assembly of State Parties and the filing of the records declared public. Bensouda claims that the state has failed to produce President Uhuru Kenyatta's financial and other records that may shed light on the scope of his conduct, including the allegation that he financed the crimes he is accused of committing. She also says the government has not updated her office with concrete steps it has taken to obtain the outstanding records for over 1 year. Bensouda says the only action the government has taken has been to inform her that the records request has been forwarded to relevant agencies, and then lately asserting potential privacy considerations as a reason not to execute that request. Now, the Kenya National Examinations Council says it has made all necessary arrangements to ensure the smooth marking of Kenya Certificate of Secondary Examinations. The council's CEO, Paul Wasanga, says threats by KUPPET to boycott the marking exercise will not in any way affect the results. Wasanga said almost all examiners have reported to their respective marking centers ahead of the exercise, which begins tomorrow.
Kenya National Examination Council, through its CEO Paul Wasanga, moved to dispel fears over the marking of KCSE. The move to assure parents and students that the exercise, which kicks off Tuesday, will be flawless, was necessitated by threats by the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education, KUPPET, that all their members will boycott the exercise if the allowances for marking the national examinations are not hiked by 300% from the current 100 Kenya shillings per paper. Wasanga now says there is no need to panic.
Them actually reported between 4 and 5 yesterday, and they are expected to continue reporting up to tomorrow.
According to Wasanga, almost all examiners have reported to their centers, such as these at the Moi Girls School, Nairobi. Wasanga exuded confidence that it will be full house by the time the marking exercise commences.
If they have done the best to come so that they can, because the children they are marking for are innocent and require their work to be marked so that results can be released.
Examiners are not going to mark KCSE this year.
The NEC boss sought to assure the country that those selected for the marking exercise underwent a rigorous recruitment process to ascertain their competence, and as such, fears that the strike threat by KUPPET will affect the integrity of the exam results need not emerge.
Online registration as examiners, where we ask them to fill a form and accept to come and mark. 100%, this is a method that was used, and I can confirm that this method has been very successful.
The marking exercise will be undertaken in 25 centers across the country. However, KUPPET says they have issued clear instructions to their union members who have reported as examiners not to mark the exams until their demands on allowances are met. Zipporah Karani, reporting for KTN, Nairobi.
Right, now coming off of those award ceremonies that we had earlier on in the weekend, where Kenya was declared the world's leading safari destination, some more news to see just how we'll be able to cope with the growing numbers. The groundbreaking ceremony of Terminal 4 will be happening tomorrow, and we're here with the Transport Cabinet Secretary, Engineer Michael Kamau. Thank you very much for joining us to tell us more about this. So tell us the benefits of Terminal 4 and what it would confer on the tourism sector and the travel industry.
The airport is very congested. Jomo Kenyatta, which was opened in 1978, had a capacity of 2.5 million passengers, and it is handling 6.5 million passengers at the moment. Because we have not opened Terminal 4. We opened Terminal 4 at the end of this month, and it has a capacity of 2.5 million passengers. So that brings us to 5 million passengers. Then we build a temporary terminal by April of next year. That brings the capacity to 7.5 and will be a bit comfortable. But the big thing is we are starting what we call the Greenfield Terminal, a brand new terminal, about 2 kilometers away from the old terminal, the one that exists, Terminal 1, 2, and 3. And this will have a capacity of 20 million passengers. And it is a state-of-the-art terminal.
And we expect phase 1 to be completed by March next year. By then, the airport will be able to handle how many passengers?
Now, what we'll complete next year is a temporary terminal. You recall that we had a fire at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and we are still using the parking garage. We want to move passengers from the parking garage into the new temporary terminal. But what we are starting tomorrow is a brand new terminal with a capacity of 20 million passengers.
We're talking about 55 billion shillings being spent on this. Let's talk about the financing of it. 85% of it, of course, coming from loans. Let's talk about that, and have you identified the partners and the process of that? Of course, the taxpayer would be interested to know.
First of all, the taxpayer or the traveler, the passenger, has been paying $40 for departing passengers. And we have built up a kitty of several billion, which we are going to borrow from, which we are going to use for the construction. The rest of the money is being borrowed from a consortium of banks, and we have 3 banks that have put very competitive bids. We'll pick one of them, but we are starting the construction off with our own money. What is important is we are not going for any sovereign guarantee or any government guarantees. We are borrowing on the basis of the balance sheet of KAA.
All right. Part of the proposals here is the extension of the runway as well.
Yes.
And that may possibly affect the residents of Syokimau in one way or another. Tell us about that and how it will affect them and how you perhaps plan to go ahead with this.
No, you know, the airport lot is very big, and we reoccupied it after it was illegally occupied. So we are not getting into anybody's land. But the second runway, which will be 5.5 kilometers, is not coming under this phase. What we are just putting under this phase is just the temporary terminal, and we are not affecting anybody. There is no acquisition. We have enough land at JKIA.
All right, and this will help to boost the tourism numbers, obviously, and perhaps help us earn some more money from the travel industry.
Indeed. Nairobi, this will put Nairobi right. It will make Nairobi what we've always wanted it to be, a hub. Number one, Kenya Airways has the Mawigo plan, where they want to get to 88 aircraft in another 6 years. At the moment, they have 46 aircraft, and there is no parking for them. So we are providing parking, about additional parking 40 for aircrafts. This terminal will have 40 contact gates. That means you won't have to walk in the rain or in the sun. Everything is you join from the lounge into the aircraft. A parking for total capacity installed of about 5,900 vehicles. There is a railway station. You can come from the central station in Nairobi, get your booking, do your bookings there, and then straight into the airport and into the aircraft from a railway station, which is something that we don't have at the existing terminal. There will be a bus terminus for dedicated buses that will be picking passengers and take them to the city center, just for airport passengers, a shuttle service. So it's a modern aircraft, what we would call seamless connectivity between air and land transport.
Okay, all right. Indeed, we look forward to that. That's taking place tomorrow, the groundbreaking ceremony. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
And most welcome tomorrow.
All right,
Hope you not boycott the occasion.
Hopefully we won't do that. Thank you.
The Big Q in association with Kenya Power.
Let's have a recap for you of our big question tonight, and we're asking you, do members of the county assemblies deserve a pay hike? Do members of the county assemblies deserve a pay hike? You saw that story by Edith Kimani a short while ago on their fresh demands for higher salaries. Please let us know your thoughts on SMS. 22155 is our number. Start with a yes or no, followed by a brief comment. You can also send us a tweet at KTN Kenya, at Wilson_Mburu, and at Yvonne Okwara, and we will be sampling your views as we carry on with this live newscast.
Get power information right at your fingertips. Dial *551# Kenya Power.
Right, let's now take a short break right here on KTN Prime. We'll be back with more. Former President Mwai Kibaki's first public lecture.
Sasa tumesikia kuna mama wengine hapo Kafimoto walikuwa wanatoa tohara kwa wasichana wetu wa shule. na kama serikali tutapambana na nyinyi.
You're watching KTN Prime.
You're watching KTN Prime. Thank you for staying with us.
Now, retired President Mwai Kibaki recaps Kenya's journey as a nation, looking back at the country's 50 years of independence. In a special lecture at the University of Nairobi to mark the Kenya Art 50 celebrations, Kibaki highlighted some of Kenya's key milestones and challenges through the years. The retired president gave a positive outlook of Kenya's future, expressing confidence in the current regime.
So far, the leadership of this country has done what has been within their ability and reach with regard to getting Kenyans to the promised land. However, a lot still remains undone. My hope is that each of us in this country will play their part fully and faithfully, especially in the area of creating both jobs and wealth.
Now it's time to take another short break, but don't you go away, because after that, Yvonne will be back with the day's business.
Right, it's time for the business news now. The Kenya Airports Authority has received the first of claims settlement following the August 7th inferno at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Adelaide Changole with that report.
The August 7th dawn inferno at the region's leading transport hub, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, was a low point in Kenya's history. However, months after the incident, a flurry of activities is on at the airport, not only to get it to full operations but exceed expectations.
The construction will not start until Unit 4 is operational and until the interim terminal is operational, and we're expecting that by January, these two should be operational. So anytime...
With the envisaged Terminal 4 in place, the reorganization of Unit 1 and 2 that currently host the international departures will come on board. This will see the authority demolish the burnt-down arrivals and build a new one. The cost of construction will be met by a 500 million shilling claim settlement it received from APA Insurance.
Presenting this check to the management of KAS to help them with the rehabilitation process.
We thank APA. We are happy to receive this part payment. It will go a long way in starting the reconstruction of the arrival building.
In a bid to increase its annual handling capacity, the 57 billion shilling Greenfield Terminal will be the hallmark of the expansion project. This will see the annual handling capacity increase from the current 6.5 million to 20 million passengers in the long term. President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to groundbreak the project tomorrow.
We are still discussing with them, and when it's concluded, then the detailed design for the second runway will start.
The role of JKA has been accentuated in the recent years by Kenya's regional hub status. This has seen increased passenger numbers through the over 30-year-old facility. Adelaide Changole, KTN Business.
Kenya's tourism campaign received a major boost over the weekend following the award as the best safari destination at the World Travel Awards. The award comes barely a month after the country's tourism marketing agency, Kenya Tourism Board, was voted Africa's leading tourism board by WTA during the Africa chapter held in Kenya in October. Industry players have termed the awards as an endorsement to Destination Kenya in its fight for Africa's tourism market share. Speaking to KTN, Heritage Hotels Managing Director Mohamed Hersi called on the government as sector players to capitalize on the award by matching up tourism offerings in the country to the accolades. Tourism remains one of Kenya's leading foreign exchange earners, as well as employment opportunities. The sector has, however, had a poor run in the last 1 year as a result of the March 4th general election jitters and terror-related attacks. Kerio Valley Development Authority will this Friday launch its master plan for the year 2013 to 2033. The event that will take place in Eldoret is set to attract investors from the counties within the North Rift. Speaking during a press conference, KVDA Director David Kimosop said the master plan will provide ways of incorporating communities which have been in conflict over resources to participate in spurring regional economic development. The 20-year regional integrated master plan is aligned to the Kenya's Vision 2030 and is set to help provide strategies for peace building, irrigation-based agriculture, mineral exploration, value addition and conservation of water catchment areas in major parts of the North Rift. Uasin Gishu County Governor Jackson Mandago welcomed stakeholders to the event, saying there is need to create a coordinated effort to steer development in the region.
We believe this is a vision that we live beyond 50 years as we stand the next 50 years of this country. So I want to invite all of us to that function, to this launch. It will also be an eye-opener. I'm also inviting all the other counties of this republic that even as we continue doing our county integrated development plans, there are things that transcend counties and they go to 3 or 4 counties.
Apart from being bread basket, it's also a stopover for all goods and services that go to the counties that Kerio Valley is in charge of. That's the 6 counties of Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo, West Pokot, Turkana. Samburu is a bit far. And we have international airport in Eldoret, which is not being used optimally. And hopefully with this strategic plan and the master plan of KVDA, we should be able to look at now how goods and services can be strategically moved from Eldoret International Airport.
Employees of the Kenya Meat Commission have downed tools over claims of poor pay. The Athi River-based workers said management had refused to implement a salary increment deal negotiated 3 years ago. The facility has been in the news recently following revelations that it was heavily indebted and unable to pay suppliers. In September, the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries indicated that the commission was in crisis due to a debt of 300 million shillings. This was attributed to years of mismanagement and misuse of funds. The ministry noted that the facility needed at least 750 million shillings required to transform the parastatal. Out of these, 250 million shillings was to be used for restructuring of workers to improve efficiency. The latest move by staff is expected to put a further strain on the factory ahead of the December festive season.
Na managers ambao tuko naye hapa iondolewe, tufanye kazi na imani.
Pesa na watu wadogo waongezwe pesa. Tangu ifunguliwe 2006 wafanyakazi hakuna kitu wameongezwa. Tulikuwa tumeweka maktaba tuongezwe 10,000. Mpaka leo hiyo pesa tunapelekwa hivi, ndio leo tumegoma mpaka tusikie maneno hii pesa. Tuwekewe tulipwe. Na hata serikali ikiongeza pesa hakuna pesa inaongezwa hapa.
Well, let's now review the financial markets for you on this first day of December.
Let's go to security matters now, and police have questioned 3 members of parliament over reports that they were attacked in a hotel in Samburu County. The incident occurred on Saturday night, where gunmen allegedly tried to force the legislators out of the hotel during a fundraiser. The 3 were grilled by police Monday as Inspector General of Police David Kemayo gave assurances that the police would get to the bottom of the matter.
of Turkana North, Protas Akuja of Loima, and Joseph Samal of Isiolo North recorded statements at the CID headquarters Monday amidst claims that they were attacked while holding a meeting at a hotel in Maraland. The three say they had gone to Samburu County on a fact-finding mission on the ongoing conflict in the county.
The county commander was sent to inform us that the leadership of Samburu, where the sitting MP, who is a colleague, Honorable Ati, the governor of the county, are saying that Harambee is not going to proceed, and we must move out of Maral town within 1 hour.
The three say they then declined to leave the hotel, fearing for their lives, only for the building to be shot at thereafter.
In a span of 30 minutes, the entire part of the hotel was sprayed with bullets while we were inside. Then the police, the OSPD rushed, and the county commissioner also came.
Aside from accusing their counterparts from Samburu of being behind the troubles, the three, accompanied by their lawyer Ekuru Okot, have accused the police of being lax on the conflict in the county of Samburu.
The CID director, first of all, has promised us that he's going to launch investigation immediately, and we have told him we have heard that before from the police, that you launch investigation. This time round, we want something to happen. We want to see those leaders being summoned to explain their utterances.
Through his Twitter account, Inspector General of Police David Kimayo, however, denied the MP's account, saying that a gunshot was heard from a distance and that it was nowhere near the hotel. However, Kimayo assured the leaders that police are investigating the leaders from Samburu, who are said to have ordered their counterparts to vacate the hotel. There has been tension in Samburu County for days now, with police coming under fire for failing to resolve the situation. While visiting Lodwar town over the weekend, Deputy President William Ruto assured residents the government would put an end to the insecurity.
We have mandates from the people of Kenya to ensure that the property and the life of every Kenyan is safe. And that mandate we are not going to negotiate with anybody, no criminal, nobody. We will make sure that it is so, because that is what the Constitution says.
Meanwhile, amidst the barrage of accusations among leaders, West Pokot Senator John Lonyangapuas distanced himself from the conflict. Ben Kiteli, KTN.
Afraha Stadium gets ready to host the Sekafa Senior Challenge Cup as Harambee Stars arrive in Nakuru.
Akiwa ndani ataka kuwa nje, akiwa nje anugunika, akipendwa hapendeki.
You're watching KTN Prime.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to another week of sporting action on KTN Sports. Today, I'm Lynn Washira. First things first, Nakuru's Afraha Stadium is ready to host Sekafa matches Tuesday afternoon after they were moved from Machakos following heavy rains in the town. KTN Sports toured the sports facility and found workers busy working on the final touches of the stadium. Victor Ogala with more on the story.
Hosting an international tournament is an opportunity most cities or towns would fancy, especially in this age where sports has become an income earner. Nakuru County officials and FKF officials in the town did not waste this golden opportunity, that as soon as they realized they could get the nod to host some Sekafa matches, they made sure the Afraha Stadium is in good condition. KTN's tour to the sports facility found county workers doing final touches as Tuesday afternoon they host Harambee Stars versus Zanzibar.
Sasa tuko tayari kurudisha Afraha Stadium kwa kiwango cha international football matches.
Over the weekend, heavy rains that poured in Machakos rendered the Kenyatta Stadium inhabitable, leading to Sekafa organizers to shift matches to Nakuru and Nairobi. In Nakuru, all seems to be ready, ranging from the pitch to the floodlights, dressing room and refurbished stands.
Kuletwa kwa michezo hii ya Sekafa na hasa Harambee Stars ambayo inakuja kesho ni vizuri sana na itatupatia changamoto na kutupatia ile moral booster kwa sababu kati ya wachezaji wawili wa Harambee Stars wametoka hapa kwetu.
National team Harambee Stars has already arrived in the town, ready for the match tomorrow. Victor Ogale, KTN Sports.
Quite impressive to see different counties welcoming Sekafa into their home. And moving on, Crown Paints held its final Teflon Green Sum Challenge at the Limuru Country Club drawing a range of golfers from clubs all over the country. The Golfing Challenge marked the culmination of multiple tournaments held countrywide throughout the year, with 16 clubs represented by 96 players as finalists. Qualifiers winners of the Cup, Mr. Wanje and Lady Captain Brooker, at 35 points, received an all-expenses-paid trip to a golf resort in Johannesburg, South Africa for 4 nights. Guest winners from other clubs received cash awards of over 100,000 Kenya shillings. And finally, the Lorna Kiplagat Academy laying off the 400 meters all-weather tartan track in Iten Elgeyo Marakwet County is finally complete, and athletes will begin their drills in preparation for next season's outings. According to Kiplagat, the track that corresponds with international standards is expected to accommodate runners' training sessions starting Wednesday. The athlete, who was born and bred in Iten, noted that her athletics career had numerous challenges as muddy roads and rains interrupted her bids for athletics greatness, and the project was therefore a way to salvage young athletes from going through the very challenges that stood on the way of her career. And that's how we end KTN Sports today. I'm Lane Washira. Do have a good night. Join me tomorrow for more sporting action. Keep it KTN.
Right, and we've come to the end of our bulletin, and we would like to give you the poll results of our question of the day. But first of all, I'd just like to apologize for the absence of Wilson Buru, who is not well tonight and therefore has gone to seek some medical attention. He should be fine though. But let's remind you about our big question. Tonight we asked you, do members of the county assemblies deserve a pay hike? And your thoughts are in, and the poll is in. And this is how you feel. Of course, an overwhelming response. 93% say no, 7% say yes. Let's take a look at your text messages that you sent us. And this is from Lawrence in Rongai. You say, not at all for now. Any remuneration by an employer must always be commensurate to the responsibilities of that particular post and must relate to the whole productivity of the organization or government. Have the MCAs proven their productivity to their employer? No, they have not. Let's take a look at your tweets that are coming in tonight. Dedan Mara, you say, no, these are economically insane proposals. The title MCA has blinded them to absurdity. And that's where we leave it at for now. Thank you for your feedback.
Power information right at your fingertips. Dial *551# Kenya Power.
Right, thank you so much for joining us this Monday evening on KTN Prime. Do have a lovely night. We will see you tomorrow. Good night.